Mr. Walton, did you make contact with aliens? Were you taken to another planet, to a mothership? How did they communicate with you? Can you tell me what they look like? Can you tell me how many of them there were? Were you given food?
But the teachers are alive. They're not books. They are the very living essences of nature itself.
What a strange person.
Unbelievably powerful supercomputer that's running our reality, and we don't have a clue as to how to operate it.
So when maybe you or somebody else creates an AGI system and you get to ask her one question, what would that question be? What's outside the simulation?
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. Welcome to Lighting the Void. Thank God we made it. It's August the 3rd, Monday, August the 3rd, 2020. And as you can see, I told you guys we were switching servers and apps and all that stuff. And that's what I've been doing. And everybody's messaging me about all their stuff and can't get the guest on the phone. And you know what? That's the beautiful part about this show. That's how you know it's live. It's happening right now. Whatever you're doing, it's happening now, not tomorrow. I didn't pre-record this a week ago. So that's the beauty of it all, right? You don't know. You never know when anything's going to happen. What's going to happen? We love live radio. That's why we do this. I think most of you know that. If you listen to the show, you know I've had my hands full behind on the archives. But if you go to, you'll see what's been going on. All you got to do is go to the Fringe.fm, and you'll see what's been happening. That's all you got to do. You'll be able to click on the web apps, the new mobile apps coming out. I've had to switch the entire playout system over to this thing, and it's all going to be worth it when it's over, because we're going to have all kinds of cool stuff, video and God, you name it. It's all going to be on there. And I think most of you are going to enjoy it for the most part, but I know that there's been some technical issues and stuff happening, so I appreciate your patience. Speaking of which, we could use your support big time right now while we're doing this. Pretty please. If you go to lightingthevoid.com, there's two options there. You can join the patrons, or you can donate via PayPal. The patrons are kind of like what keeps the show running, but so do you guys that have always donated too and got stuff from the shop. I got to say something too real quick. I've pretty much told everybody how that works at the shop with the COVID stuff going on, and I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, even though I've said it a million times on the show, and I'm not talking to all of you, just one person who sent me a nastygram, that this is my store at the website is it's like fill to order. Okay. That means when you order it, it has to go all the way out to the manufacturer. They got to print it, make it up. and then mail it to you. And then they're way behind because of COVID, so they sent out notifications that it would take even 4 to even 6 weeks to get your stuff. So don't become, you just chill out. You'll get your stuff. Everybody gets it eventually. Just make sure you send in your pictures, please, because I love looking at all of y'all, all right? So we need to get the show on the road, all right? I want to thank our sponsors at GetTheT.com, AncientLifeOil.com, and Metaphorical Archaeology. Give Barbara a call, 214-995-3754. If you've had a paranormal experience that's caused you any trauma or stress, that's the number to call because you're going to get that session free via the Fringe FM. Also, head over to UFO Seekers, backed and supported by the Fringe FM if you're into ufology. YouTube.com/UFO Seekers and UFOseekers.com. All right, so if you notice, when you go to the Fringe.fm, there's a section up there that says web apps, because we don't have the mobile apps out, and they'll have a bunch of fancy players, news reels, and weather. There's going to be a video section for our hosts that want to, go live on video. It's fancy schmancy, but you know what? It's all because of you. That's why all this is happening, really. And I want to thank you guys for your support. I know most of us here, like myself, Alex and Ryan and Jeremy and Jess, Dave and Gigi, we all really appreciate your support and your help and sticking it out with us while we grow. Sometimes when you grow, this stuff happens. Let's bring Marie on. She's waited long enough, right? Very patient. It's been such a long time since I talked to her. One of my first guests that I ever had on the show. And Marie D. Jones is a best-selling author of over 20 nonfiction books on disaster preparedness, the paranormal, ancient knowledge, unknown mysteries, UFOs, and alien tech, as well as surveillance and technology, conspiracy theories, metaphysics, spirituality, and cutting-edge science, including science, or, that stuff, PSIence, right? How quantum physics and new science may explain the existence of paranormal phenomena, Destiny versus choice, the Déjà vu, Enigma, 1111, the time prompt phenomena. I just saw that. I swear on everything. The one time I looked at my phone tonight, it was 1111. The time prompt phenomena, Mind Wars, and the Power of Archetypes. And she co-wrote Supervolcano, a catastrophic event that changed the course of human history with her father, geophysicist Dr. John Savino. And some of her current titles include The Disaster Survival Guide, Celebrity Ghosts and Notorious Hauntings, and Earth Magic. And, it's been a long time since you've been on the program, Marie. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. How long has it been? I'm trying to remember.
It's been a long time. I didn't even think to go back and look, but I was like, that, because I remember that when I talked to you, it was... you were one of my first guests, and you wrote a book about archetypes. I still have the book, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's been a while.
Yeah, that was...
I know, I go by book. It's not what year, but what book had I written then?
Do you know when that was? Do you really want to know when that was? September the 13th. A couple years ago, wasn't it? Yeah, it was September the 13th, around that week of 2017.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I've done a show 5 nights a week. Where you been? I
don't know. Where you been?
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm
always in the same place, sitting at my computer writing. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. I don't have any normal, and I'm not just now because of the COVID thing, but somebody will say, oh, I haven't talked to you in a couple of years. And I'm thinking, no, I just talked to you a few months ago. Yeah. And they'll say, no, it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, time's slipping by.
We're just so busy, yeah. Well, and we're busy, and I think when you have all that information coming at your brain, you think things are happening in a different time frame than they are. But yeah, that blows my mind. That was so many books ago. That's kind of how I judge, the passing of time. So I've written 8 books since then. Wow,
8 books. I love your books.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. No, I really wouldn't doubt it.
You know what? It's been since Archetypes. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 with my 6th coming out in October. So,
That's pretty close to 8. Yeah.
Yeah, it's close enough.
When I talked to you, you didn't have any books I don't remember like any books on magic, and we talk about that a lot. And I know you got a new book coming out in October called The New Witch, which looks real cool. Tell us about that just real quick.
So I work with a publisher called Visible Ink Press, and we have a really cool relationship in that I'll pitch books that I want to write. And sometimes the publisher will come to me and say, hey, you know, we would love to have a couple of books on this subject matter. So my publisher had asked me to do a book on the new witchcraft and Wicca and the earth traditions and how, you know, because people are really kind of feeling this pull back to nature, especially now since we're all locked inside. And so I thought, oh, that's really cool, because I myself used to be really heavily into that stuff when I was a lot younger. And I had kind of been feeling like I lost my connection with the natural world, with nature. I spend an awful lot of time writing, so I'm stuck in a room, you know, in front of a computer. And we really wanted to explore just the magic of being out in nature, but also how it has all of the gifts of healing and, you know, the ability to use the power of intention. And then we get into the more witchcraft and Wicca and earth tradition angles of using it to make potions and to do spell casting. And so earth magic kind of sets everything up. It's very focused on herbal medicine and the plants and potions and things like that.
Right,
New Witch, cool, which comes out in a few months, is really sort of my take on how witchcraft and Wicca and paganism and earth traditions have grown and evolved with technology. How Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, especially Instagram, you know, now all of a sudden you see a lot of people who are practicing Wicca or witchcraft or what have you that are, you know, they're influencers, and how technology and this sort of old tradition work together, because you wouldn't think that they would, but you know, we have to go along with progress, obviously. So that was a really fun one to write. It really looks at how the ancient and old traditions can sort of be reborn using modern technology.
Yeah, like I know for sure that there's like chaos magicians using things like meme magic and stuff like that. I mean, you can get, when it comes to getting energy behind stuff, yeah, it's a lot easier nowadays.
Yeah.
Which can work, like, you know, that can work against us, but can also work for us if we all put our minds to something too. Yeah.
And I'm all about the positive. Yeah, I focus on only, you know, the law of threefold effect says that what you put out returns back to you 3 times. You do not want to be putting out the bad stuff and the negative stuff. And really what I found is that these 2 books really focus a lot on using your intention. And I think when you cast a spell, what you're actually doing is using the power of language, the power of words to set an intention. And it's not that much different than the metaphysical use of working with the laws of attraction and, you know, reciprocity and all of those things. It's a very natural, organic way to be in the world. Not negative. I don't get into any of that. I advise that nobody does, because I feel like energy is reciprocal. It does kind of come back on you. And not only that, but, you know, the world has enough negativity. What we need to do is find the magic again. You know, find the awe and the wonder and the connection with nature. Not only that, but our own connection to ourselves. We've lost that as well. And I think it all kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have lost quite a bit of ourselves. And I think this COVID thing had a lot to do with it, but I also think that it's caused a lot of transitions to happen too. You know, I personally know quite a few people that are going through some big time changes in their lives, things that normally they were, you know, complacent. They wouldn't have done, but it's almost like maybe it's happening for a reason. I think, you know, I try to think about it positive too.
So. Yeah, and I think it's sort of it's a shift in consciousness for a lot of people. It's, you've heard, I'm sure, the term the Great Awakening, and I think people are, when you're forced to stay inside, but maybe you live alone, but you're not able to really go out and socialize much. Well, what happens is you start to be alone with your thoughts, and there aren't all those external distractions that we usually have that keep us from looking within. And what happens when you look within after all this time? You go, oh, I am really not happy. I'm miserable, or I hate my job, or I'm not happy in this relationship, or whatever. I don't feel like I'm doing what I was put here to do. All of the normal distractions that kept us from looking at all those things, they're gone now. So you either look at them and deal with them, or you stay miserable. Take your pick. It's your choice.
Pick your poison. Move along or stay back, I guess, huh?
Yeah, pick your poison. And I think also, it like you said, it's a time of transformation. If you choose it to be, I think I get really annoyed. I know I shouldn't, but I get really annoyed when I see people just complaining and whining and moaning and, all the politics. And I'm thinking, there are people out there right now achieving life goals that they never had time to before.
Yep.
Take your pick. Which path? Are you going to go down the path of being a complete victim? Or are you going to say, this really sucks. I don't really like what's happening. Obviously, it's scary, whatever, but I'm going to see if I can take some of this and get something positive done out of it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you on
together.
That. But
yeah.
I'm impressed on you as a writer, because you wrote about so many different subjects, and it makes me wonder, we could talk about any one of these stories that you talk about, the resonance key. We talked about archetypes a long time ago, mythology, magic, witchcraft, the 11/11 phenomena, UFOs and aliens, mind wars. How do you do it? I mean, most of the people I talk, I'm serious though. I admire it, because most of the people I talk to, they are one subject minded, but you can write about all this stuff, and people love your books.
I'm exhausted. I'm honestly, I have 4 books. One I just turned in on propaganda and disinformation in the media, which was really difficult to, research and write. And I've got 3 more big ones, on deck. So I had to make a choice. Like, I'm a writer. I've been writing since I was a kid. I never wanted to be. I know that there are 2 ways that you can go about this. One, you can specialize in your niche or one subject matter. And I thought when I started writing nonfiction, because before that I was writing novels and screenplays and things, and then I all of a sudden kind of got the bug to write nonfiction. And I thought really hard, and I talked to my agent about, do I just do paranormal books? Because that's kind of how it started. And what I realized is that I didn't want to. There were other things I wanted to write about. I wanted to write about the whole Mayan calendar 2012 myths and, the end of the world scenarios. I wanted to write with my dad. He wanted to write a book about Supervolcano, so we decided to do that together. I wanted to write about, I'm a trained disaster responder. I wanted to write about that. I love horse racing. I'm still trying to get a book trying to write about horse racing. So it was a conscious decision that I had to make. And along the way, I wasn't sure if I made the right one, because I watched a lot of my fellow colleagues who do just one thing, like maybe ghosts or UFOs or earth science, or just one thing. And I wondered, should I have done that? Am I scattering too much? Do people, do I have a fan base where people are like, well, what the heck? Now she's writing about this, huh? It was a hard decision, but I just had to do what was right for me. And I'm really lucky that I've always had publishers that were okay with that. Like, I said I want to write a book about mind control and domestic surveillance. And, okay, I got to do that with Mind Wars. And my next book that I'm getting back into this week is on toxins in our food, water, air, pharmaceuticals. And so,
right.
And then I have another UFO book coming down the pike. So it's kind of like I'm at the point, I'm coming up on 30 books. And had I just stuck to one thing, I never would have made it this far.
I believe it.
I had to diversify, I guess.
Yeah, I totally believe it.
It's fun that way because you spend a lot of time researching and writing a book, and then you have to promote it and talk about it. So, it's like, oh, well, this week I'm interested in this. Okay, I'll write this. And next year I might be interested in something entirely different.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what writers are supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to write about anything.
Well, I tell you what.
But that doesn't mean.
I'm jealous, though.
Oh, go ahead.
I got to say, because I spend 90% of my time messing around with like technical stuff, but I don't I miss the study time. I miss the research time, so I'm hoping one of these days I'll get this thing built up to where I can train somebody to do what I do and then be like, oh, all right, I can get back and, because like when you do an art.
Delegate it.
Right. Yeah. But when you do an art, you want to focus on your art. You don't want to be like trying to hold the house up.
Suggest that you don't wait. Yeah. And I mean, if there's anything that this virus is teaching us is not to wait because we really don't know what could be around the corner. So delegate as much as you can and get on it so that you don't, regret that you kept putting it off. It's like somebody said to me, and I know this is there's a famous quote to this effect that, wear the good pair of jeans. Don't wait until a special occasion or go ahead and eat or drink the really good bottle of wine you have. Don't wait for some special occasion to do it. Do it now because that special occasion might never come around. And I always keep that in mind, like, what do I want to write about now? Well, maybe I should write about this. And it's like, no, that works. But I'm not saying that just sticking with one subject matter is bad. It's just not right for me. I know people that, some of the people that I just look up to, like Nick Redfern, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, my gosh, they wrote about one subject matter, although they branched out a lot within that subject matter. And I really am kind of envious of that, but I don't have that kind of attention span. I could get interested in water bottles next week and want to write a book about different kinds of water bottles. Yeah. So that right. Just worked for me. And it took a long time to get to that point where my publishers were like, okay, whatever, what do you want to do next?
Well, I'll tell you what I want to do next, Marie, because this has happened to me quite a bit, and I know you've talked about it. We got to take our first break here, but I would like to talk about this 11/11 phenomenon with you when we come back. Is that okay?
Okay, sure.
Fantastic. Well, that's what we're going to talk about right after this. You guys stay with us more. Lighting the Void coming up. Also, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable's coming on. Right now, we're on 2 different services, so be looking out for the new app coming at the station. Use the web apps. TalkStream Live, Paranormal Radio. We'll be right back.
Is a medical tradition called Spagyria.
Though not many people practice this work today, Phoenix Aurelius has been researching and teaching this work for the last 15 years, and he needs your support.
Hi, I'm Phoenix Aurelius, and I'm the founder of the Phoenix Aurelius Research Society, where I perform modern scientific research on the methods and techniques of Paracelsian alchemy and spagyria for health, wellness, agriculture, ecology, and more. All my work is 100% funded by the public, so if you like what I'm doing and you want to support my research, please consider making a purchase of spagyric medicines from my apothecary, fund your own spagyric IDF wellness research, or participate in my group study or one-on-one immersion courses so that you can learn how to perform this work for yourself. I want to thank you in advance for your support.
Visit thefringe.fm/alchemy research and enter coupon code FRINGE and receive 15% off anything and everything on the website. That's thefringe.fm/alchemy research. And thank you for doing your part and keeping alchemy alive in the modern day.
Listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by the Atlantic Ocean. An independent study confirms that more people traveling from North America to Europe fly over the Atlantic than any other ocean. To get to the Atlantic Ocean from North America, just keep driving east until you run out of land.
Hey, this is country music singer and void walker Jason Benoit, and when I need my fix on the world of magic and the capabilities of the human consciousness, I listen to Joe Roop right here on Lighting the Void Radio.
What you believe might not be. Step into the zone of the vast unknown. UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, conspiracies and cover-ups. Into the paranormal we go.
I'm Jeremy Scott. Travel with me into the paranormal. Live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on the Fringe FM.
Yohoy there. It's Gigi from Shift Happens, and you're shaking some conversational tail feather to the Fringe FM.
So are you tired of being tired? Well, then it's time to get the tea. Hey, it's Lisa here to tell you about this all-natural, all-organic tea I've been drinking that has had great results for over 20 years. It's called Life Change Tea, and it's specially formulated to help detoxify and cleanse your kidneys, liver, colon, and blood all at once. The colon is one of the most ignored organs in the human body. The faster that waste is eliminated from the body, the less time that waste sits in our intestines, spreading toxins to our bloodstream. This tea helps cleanse chemicals caused by outside intruders from our entire digestive system. And get this, weight loss can be a side effect. And with continued use of the tea, you can experience clearer, healthier, younger looking skin, increased energy, and a happier outlook on life. So if you're tired of being tired, get the Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. And like me, you'll be glad you did.
The Liberator Rocket Heater will heat your home for free. The highly efficient Liberator rocket heater has no moving parts. It's safe and strong, constructed of 1/4-inch steel. So like all things made in the USA, it's built to last. Uses any kind of wood, sticks, even scrap in its gravity-fed firebox. And it heats workshops, homes, garages, outbuildings, industrial areas, and barns. Watch the video of this blast furnace stove in action. Visit rocketheater.com. That's rocketheater.com.
Hi, this is Kronox from Belgium, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by All New Head and Navel, the only shampoo that battles both unsightly dandruff and excess buildup of belly button lint.
All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void. Marie D. Jones, our guest tonight. Don't forget, after the program, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable. 5 nights a week, we're here for you. And again, I'm going to keep reminding you guys of this until we're all switched over on the station. We are switching over to a different service provider, Sirius Streaming, who's worked with a lot of different... The only other company that I could think that was as good as Sirius would be, Stream guys, and the new mobile apps that are supposed to be coming out. We're going to be on, the Fringe will be on like Apple CarPlay and Roku and all the Google Home stuff and Alexa and just about everything. And there's going to be an app that you'll be able to download where you'll be able to engage each live host via push messaging, chats, and shout-outs, where you can record shout-outs, 15-second shout-outs, so we can play them on the air. All kinds of fun stuff, right? So it's going to be a lot more interactive than it used to be. So you guys can't hide in the chat room anymore. But there's even a little chat box in this thing, too, but I don't really think y'all are going to use that. But here's the thing. If you do want to hide in the chat room, because I hide in there, too, you just go to thefringe.fm/chat room, and if you want to call into the show, it's 1-800-588-0335. That's the call-in number. Marie D. Jones is our guest tonight. You can go to the website at mariedjones.com or mariedjones.com/wordpress.com. I think that's how you say that. And just go to mariedjones.com. It'll go to the right website. You can see all the books that she wrote. The first one we talked about when she came on the show 3 years ago was the book about archetypes. But now I want to talk about this 11/11 thing, because it is something that I've seen quite a bit, especially since this COVID and everything's been going on. Maybe I'm paying attention to it. Is it different? Why is 11/11 different than, the triple-digit numbers, Marie, that people talk about are angelic? What's so special about this one?
Well, I mean, you could do the mundane scientific explanation and say, because it's symmetrical, it looks good, 11/11. There's two numbers on each side, they match, and our brains love pattern, and our brains have a tendency to seek patterns out once they've sort of identified that it's important to us. But on a more spiritual or metaphysical level, when Larry Foxman and I originally wrote 11/11, which was the first book that we wrote together as a writing team, it was a long time ago. Gosh, it was several years ago. And we just did a revised version last year. And what we found out was that, people all over the world for years now, going back to the 1970s, had been seeing time prompts, of course, and number sequences of all kinds, but mainly 11/11. And we thought, well, okay, that's a little weird. Yeah, it looks really great, but there's got to be more to it than that. And what we found out was, at the time when we wrote the book, this whole December, 2012, end of the Mayan calendar is at the end of the world thing was going on. And everybody was kind of freaked out about, oh my God, what's going to happen? And, as you know, nothing happened because it was not the end of the world. But what we found out was that specific winter solstice, December 21st, 2012, did take place at 11:11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And so a lot of people felt like that was some kind of powerful significance, that was telling us that there was going to be some kind of activation, or it was going to trigger some kind of transformation in people. And even though we maybe didn't see it on a huge collective level, it doesn't mean that we haven't seen it on an individual level, because to this day, people are constantly messaging and emailing, hey, I see 11/11 all the time. What does it mean? Or maybe they'll say, every time I see it, there's some kind of really unusual synchronistic event that happens, or something will happen. I'll get a phone call, and, the job that I was up for, I got the job, or somebody that, I met at that moment will be very important to me, blah, blah, blah. So it seems to have a lot of significance to people, and it's on an individual level, but I think also collectively, it's a little poke from the universe, maybe, reminding us to get in the present moment and to be more aware of what's going on, and maybe even to sort of assist us in a collective transformation. And it's so funny that you said that you've been seeing it a lot lately, because a lot of people have told me that. Like, oh, I hadn't seen it in a while. Now with this virus thing going on, and I'm seeing it all the time again. That's kind of interesting. Like, is it trying to tell us something?
Well, I've seen it quite a bit, for sure, and I definitely think that it has something to do with a specific person. That's something.
Do you really?
Yeah. I think you
did. Yeah.
I think if you're coming in alignment with either a specific person or an idea or a job or a connection, it's kind of like, I think it's that twin type energy. A lot of people say that.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, because you've got that symmetry, the 11 and the 11, like the two twins. That's an unusual way to put it. Almost like you're identifying a soulmate, or what do you call it?
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you
what
remember
is it?
3 years ago, though?
The twin flame.
Well, I don't know if I believe in that. Do you believe in that whole twin flame thing? Like, aren't we all connected?
I don't know. Well, I think we are. Yeah, and I do believe in the soulmate idea, in that I think that there are people that we connect really deeply with, and I'm not necessarily saying romantically.
Yeah.
But people that come into our lives that are meant to literally transform us. And I've had that happen very recently with, a couple of people that I had no idea, when I met them at the time, that they were going to be such an important part of my life. Not in a romantic sense, because I think that's what people usually attach it to. And it could be your soulmate, could be the person that you end up with or marry or whatever. But I think that there are people that, hey, I tend to believe in reincarnation, and I lean towards the possibility that we make some plans for our soul's evolution, and it could be that you're coming to recognize the people that are supposed to help you kind of level up, like when you're playing a video game or something, and somebody comes along and they kind of help trigger you leveling up. And that's just my personal opinion, but I think definitely I don't know about the twin flame, but because that idea is that there's this one person, that you were separated from, and your whole life is spent trying to find them. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't
but
either.
I think you can have a number of soulmates.
That's
you can have a lot of soulmates.
Yeah,
friends, romantic,
right?
Yeah, mentors.
Yeah, that's a little hard. I mean, I've made connections in my life that were deep. I mean, I've even made connections in my life where it's like there, where you feel like it's hard to explain because it sounds kind of needy, but it's not. Do you feel like that person's supposed to be in your life no matter what? And I've made connections where you're just like, man, what? It was just like a lesson. And you're like, thanks. And get away from me after that because it's a hard lesson usually or something crazy. But twin flame stuff, I don't know.
Soulmates don't necessarily, if you think about it, a soulmate doesn't necessarily have to be like a happy, positive person in your life. It could be somebody that comes along and just pushes every button you have and drives you nuts. Or you just almost despise them, but what they do is they hold a mirror up to you and help you transform and maybe break free from some old patterns and habits that we all love the really great relationships where it's all fun and games all the time, but they tend to not help you grow as much as the really challenging people that you meet.
Yeah, I might just turn this show before it's all over with into one of those love line shows. Call Joe, tell me about your relationships.
Really. Let me match you with someone. Your twin flame is out there somewhere.
Tell me.
And her name is Janine.
Tell me your biggest relationship problem.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, didn't they used to, what's her name used to do that? I forget her name. They used to come on at night. It wasn't Loveline. Loveline's the older one. It was what's her name?
Gosh.
Delilah.
I know who you're
talking
about.
Delilah used to do that. Delilah.
My COVID brain is like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yeah. Tell me, what are you looking for in a partner?
Yeah, like if this
no, but I think a
paranormal
soulmate
thing don't work out, I'm definitely going to try that.
You should. And a guy doing it? Like, ladies, let me tell you what men are like. Oh, my gosh, you'd be hugely successful. Let me tell you how to deal with men.
Yeah. I'll tell him the truth.
But no, I mean, yeah, really. The soulmate thing, I think, is, it doesn't have to be romantic and woo-woo. I think it's more about there are people that will come in your life, and sometimes they stay for a while, sometimes they're in and out, but because of them, you grow. And I've had many. I can write down the names. I can remember from early childhood. And I think that they're not always positive relationships. Sometimes they're very painful. But so I don't know. I think, something like an 1111 or a time prompt. And not everybody sees numbers. A lot of people have word prompts. They might see a word or a phrase over and over. They might see an image. I've had people say, well, I see owls all the time, or I see, a hummingbird. And so I think whatever is triggering this, universe, God, spirit, whatever the heck you want to call it, higher consciousness, is picking something that will get your attention. And numbers are the language of the universe. Why not use numbers? It gets everybody's attention. And again, our brains, they just love to pick up a pattern and they grab it and they run with it. And then they're going to start seeing it all the time.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's just, I got a feeling that you're probably caught up in your work as much as I am. And I think I really realized this the other day. I was like, if I don't look up and smell the roses sometimes, I'm missing out on stuff. Oh. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have roses in my backyard, and I go out and I smell them all the time now. I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's so beautiful. I live on a golf course. It's like, it's so beautiful out here.
Who doesn't want to live on a golf course? I do. I love golf. Well,
there's no privacy. I go out back with the dogs on the back patio, and there's, golfer. I'm on the 15th hole, and a lot of times they're drunk, which is really funny to watch. Young guys golf when they're drunk. It's fun. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, you don't have a lot of privacy. But I'm so achievement driven that I have to remind myself, go take the dogs for a walk, go outside, go out back. You don't even have to go take them out, to the park. There's pink roses, gold roses, yellow roses. Go smell them. And then you do, and it's like you start to realize, wow, flowers are really cool. Each one is completely different from the next. How the heck? What made these? And then you start noticing the birds, and you're like, wait a second. There's an awful lot of different color birds out there, aren't there? And it's really amazing. I mean, humans, we're so into ourselves. We're so into being human that we forget that nature is so much bigger than we are, and there's so much more diversity and awesome stuff out there than just us human beings. We're not the only creatures on the planet.
Is that why you part of the reason why you write these things? Usually, someone that writes as much as you do is I don't know. I feel like you've had some experiences that you maybe haven't talked about or something,
Well, yeah, I mean, writers, we're like actors. Actors like to go take movie roles so that they can kind of, live vicariously through the characters or whatever. Writers write about everything that they've been through, experienced, and what interests them. So all of my books have aspects of that in them. I've experienced things. This interests me. I'm very obsessed with this subject, or I'm passionate about this subject. Whether it's Supervolcano Volcanoes or 1111, which I've had time prompts. My time prompt is 333. I see 1111, but 333 is mine, and it has been for decades. But yeah, absolutely. You can't write. I mean, if you write about stuff that you haven't experienced, it's going to be really dry and boring. And I write fiction, I write screenplays, and so everything that I write about, even the nonfiction, has my stamp on it.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, and that's why the paranormal stuff, I mean, when I was little, I was really into UFOs and Bigfoot. I'm talking about from like the age of 4. And so as I got older and I started writing, that's kind of what I gravitated to. I wanted to write ghost stories and horror stories and monster stories. And then later on, when I started to write nonfiction, it was like, oh, I want to look at this now from a more, scientific point of view or a more research-oriented point of view. But it all comes from what you've experienced in life.
Well, that's exactly my point. It was like when we have I feel like when our head is so buried in our work, we just miss out on a lot. And I don't think this COVID thing happened for, like you say, like in bad ways. I've had some pretty big spiritual growth experiences, and I know a lot of the listeners have too, because they've told me about it. And I mean, now's the time to read books. I don't know. Everybody thinks like everything's just going to be so bad. Nothing's ever going to be the same again. The world's coming to an end.
Oh, and it will. Yeah, it will.
If you think about the laws of manifestation and what all these past spiritual people, though, have written about the power of the tongue and the mind, do you think it's smart that we're going around like saying that stuff and feeling that stuff? I mean,
I'm so glad you said that. I totally agree. It's like, speak what you want to see. Speak it into existence. You keep, so many people are living out of fear. I'm not afraid. I'm kind of annoyed. I'm not afraid.
Annoyed is a good one, yeah.
And yeah, it is. I'm very annoyed, but I'm also trying to take advantage, like you just said, of, okay, now normally I'm a writer. I spend a lot of time alone writing anyway, but how can I make the best use of this time? And I've been really lucky that I am busier than ever because a lot of my friends lost their jobs. Businesses that they worked for were shut down, or their own businesses were. And, I'm really lucky. I'm blessed that I'm getting busier than ever. But at the same time, what it did for me is I had to slow down enough. I don't socialize a lot. I tend to be a lone wolf, but I go out with my friends, and I have people that I get together with pretty regularly. But not being able to do that, and being alone even more, I started to really have to look at, okay, with my writing, am I doing what I want? And I found out, no, I'm actually not working on some of the things that I keep putting off year after year. And it's time to stop doing that and to prioritize what's important to me, not a publisher or an agent or whatever, what's important to me. So it is a good time for introspection and transformation if you make it that way.
Right. Well, it's a time for where they're saying the veils are thin, and I got to tell you, I've had some wild dreams, emotional dreams too. I'm talking about waking up in pure emotion, and for a man that's like me that's trying to appear tough all the time, it's starting to get to me.
Tough guy.
Yeah, because I've seen people like that have passed away in my past that I never thought I'd see again, and delivering me like messages. Who like when we talked about the last time you were on the show, the symbolism and archetypes that are in the dreams are pretty obvious for the most part. Yeah. And I feel like what is going on? Like there's a shift, some kind of weird shift going on. I don't know what it is.
There is, but you know what's weird? Like, okay, so I talk to you and I hear you say that, And it actually makes me feel really good because a lot of the other people that I talk to, they don't see that. They're more caught up in the nuts and bolts of what's going on. Oh, we're being locked down. Oh, wear your mask. Oh, getting tested, this, that, the other thing. And then I have, my people who are saying, wait a minute, there's something spiritual going on here. And it's a time of chaos and transformation. And because in chaos, there's always opportunity. So it's really, for me, it gives me more hope to talk to people like you and hear that not only are you going through it, but like you said, a lot of people that you've talked to and people that call in or whatever that they're saying, it's like, oh, okay, so it's not just me thinking, oh, this is some big spiritual transformation, just to make myself feel better, It's really happening.
Yeah, usually what'll happen is I'll get an email.
All the details are, but
yeah, I mean, I'll get an email. People don't call into the show. They know direct messaging me ain't gonna work because I swear, man, if I didn't turn that stuff off, the Radio Shack would sound like Pac-Man all the time, just do. And then you got another 40 messages from people that are all, excuse my French, but butthurt because you didn't answer them, and you're like, I can't do this, And so
exactly, yeah.
But I will take the time to read an email most of the time if I see that someone's like really taking the time to write it and everything. But the best way to send a message to me is, why do you think I'm here on this microphone? I relate to people if I can hear your voice. That's the best way I connect with people. Because I don't want to get into the whole text thing, but stuff really comes across wrong on text messages sometimes, and it just depends on the person who's reading it.
You can't convey. Exactly.
And that's something like...
Yeah, so
I wanted to talk about with you, too, because like ESP, there's psychic connections happening and stuff, because if you think about it, and we're at the top of the hour, too, is our words are really good, like words, when I mean words, like the written word. Is it really a good method for communication? Or is it the worst method for communication, I wonder? We'll be right back with Marie D. Jones. Stay with us. Being a character in your favorite video game or movie? Would you like to dream your fantasy with all 5 senses in detail and remember everything? It's time to bring the dreaming mind back online. Introducing Dreaming for Gamers from Ian Wilson.
Dreaming for Gamers will teach you how to program your dreams to dream what you want from any video game, movie, or source material that you choose. The courses help rehabilitate the dreaming mind out of atrophy so you can remember your dreams, taste, touch, smell, see, and hear, as well as be self-aware and take complete control over the dream state like Neo in the Matrix. You can't catch COVID in a dream, but you can wake up with a happy ending.
Type in thefringe.fm/dreamplay and sign up today to get dreaming now. That's thefringe.fm/dreamplay, or click the banner at thefringe.fm today and take the 7-day dream challenge for free while it lasts.
My name is Jake. I'm from Billings, Montana, and I am a Void Walker.
Hey, Joe Root. Thanks for lighting the void. This is Janine in the bluegrass of Kentucky, and I am a Void Walker.
What's up, guys? This is Damien from San Marcos, Texas, and I'm a Void Walker. I listen to the show to keep myself aligned with the world.
Hi, this is Laura, aka Laura Lavender. I'm from Las Vegas, and I listen to Lighting the Void because it helps me understand some of the strangest experiences I've had. So thanks for all that you do and for always being there for us, Joe.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by new lemon-flavored Acid Rain, the deadly pollutant with that fresh lemony smell. So the next time someone tells you to name your poison, you have a choice, lemon-flavored or regular unscented.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
This is Barbara Charlton from Metaphorical Archaeology. If you've ever had a traumatic paranormal experience, the effects of it may stay with you for years. Who do you talk to? You can't go to conventional help. What we do is we use emotional freedom techniques or tapping to actually neutralize the effects of that event. Maybe when you tell the story now, your heart races and your palms get sweaty. You don't even want to think about it because you don't know how to neutralize that. That's what EFT tapping does. It neutralizes those emotions. The circuit that was recorded on is gone. The energy flows freely and you're free of it. And that's what emotional freedom is all about. We offer this as a pro bono service, but this is something that I offer because no one, it seems, is helping people with these experiences. If you'd like to reach me, it's really easy. My cell phone is 214-995-3754. Please leave a message. I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Or you can email me, barb.eft@gmail.com. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. Reach out to me. It's confidential. This works. You won't believe the results.
This is Malorcas45, fan of the Fringe FM, challenging everyone to open their mind's eye. Listen to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop to gain precision for your third eye vision.
This is the Rogie Report News on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie. Could gravitational wave detectors prove that wormholes exist? Well, possibly. In a recent paper written by physicist William Gabella of Vanderbilt University, he stated, "No evidence has been found that wormholes exist. However, if they do exist, researchers have a chance to detect the wormholes via gravitational waves." At this point, wormholes are a hypothetical object where space-time is curved into a tunnel that connects to different cosmic locales or possibly even different universes. Basically, Gabella's theory is that if a black hole travels through a wormhole, it will produce a gravitational wave chirp upon entry and an anti-chirp during its exit. Are more people witnessing UFOs due to the COVID lockdown? According to UFO researcher Chris Rathowski, UFO sightings across Canada have increased over 50% since the country's lockdown. In 2019, there were 849 sightings reported. The number of Canadian reports from March to August of this year was 50% higher than sightings reported during the same period of time last year. The increased reports during the lockdown, Rakowski explained, included pilots who received collision alerts on their transponder systems but saw no visible objects in the sky. Conversely, some air traffic controllers reported seeing objects that did not show up on their radar. Could it be an increased presence or more people taking time to observe? And speaking of increased sightings, an alleged Nessie sighting has been recorded on video. A local man claims he recorded the Loch Ness Monster. On July 8th, Ross McCallie was driving just outside Fort Augustus when he glanced at the water. He noticed an object, so he decided to film. He filmed the object for about 5 minutes. He estimates the object was moving at approximately 400 yards a minute and was 12 foot long and 4 foot wide. He stated that it went under the water and then back up before disappearing. Prior to this sighting, Macaulay says he did not believe in the Loch Ness Monster. There were 5 other sightings reported earlier this year via the Loch's webcam. Sounds like Nessie's been pretty active this year, or perhaps people are paying more attention to the Loch. We have time for one more. The lack of human activity during the COVID lockdown has reduced human-linked vibrations on the Earth by 50%. This is the Rogie Report News on the Fringe FM. I'm Jess Rogie.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Moonshine Light, the new low-calorie illegal whiskey for people who are looking for an easy way to lose excess pounds and their livers.
message is being broadcast by the Department of Defense of the Republic. At 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, multiple unidentified objects were confirmed to have entered Earth's atmosphere.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS speed ready.
The first message that comes to you is you are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms.
The vast stretches of the unknown and the unanswered and the unfinished still far outstrip our collective comprehension.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from Forest Tower Studios, all the way from the Deep South. Now, here is your host, Joe Root.
All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void. We're at the top of the second hour here with our guest, Marie D. Jones. The website is mariedjones.com. You can call into the show at 1-800-588-0335. What's the weirdest thing that's happened to you during this COVID lockdown? And I mean, there's been some strange stuff going on here. We're about to talk about that in just a second. If you can, please support the show by going to lightingthevoid.com, sign up for the Patreon, or donate via PayPal. Help us get all this stuff transitioned over. And there's a lot more transitions that are happening that I'll be talking to you about that are probably going to shock you. Some things are going to happen that I don't think you thought this old boy would ever do. But it's going to happen. It's time for a cool change. I think about that song by Ozzy Osbourne, I'm Going Through Changes. You know how painful it sounds as he's singing it? It's kind of what it feels like. But it's for good reasons, and I think a lot of us are going through that. So what I mean by weird and strange is there's been some crazy stuff that happened. Of course, there's been these apocalyptic sky sounds that have baffled experts during this lockdown, and a lot of people think that it's announcing the oncoming collapse or the apocalypse or maybe revelations. You know, anytime people hear hums and stuff, they think that the end of the world is coming. Like there's some type of celestial trumpets that are heralding the apocalypse. There could be natural explanations, but I can tell you I've heard some weird stuff myself. Some of these sounds have been heard in Mexico, Slovakia, Italy, and Brazil, and Argentina. They don't sound like angels, but I can just play some of them, and they are kind of weird. And if you've heard some of these, then you'll know what they are. Maybe you can guess what they are, but I've heard some of these too here, and maybe we'll get a better understanding of what this stuff is, because this stuff's been happening for a long time. There's one, right? That sounds like a video game. This is in Bratislava. I don't know what that is. That is weird.
Okay, guys, so we keep hearing this really strange noise. We're not sure what it is, and we called the police and reported it because at first we thought it was gunshots. But I guess they sent a patrolman over there. They don't know what it is, as far as we know. But just listen. Wait, did you see that flash? Wait, I see flashes over there.
But that can't be thunder.
No, that doesn't look like thunder. I mean lightning, yeah. I don't know
It
if
looks
you
like
guys can see those flashes.
A runway light.
I can see the
Fireworks, maybe?
No, fireworks would go...
I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, mostly fireworks you'll hear.
Oh, wait.
Trying to turn this up. These people act like they've never heard gunshots before. Those are definitely gunshots.
February 27th, 2020. I just noticed something. I'm not sure if I'm right about this. That was a cargo. Do you hear that? Listen.
So I'd have to amplify it, Marie, but it's these low, sound like low, you ever heard the sounds of the planets? Have you ever listened to that before?
The Schumann resonance?
Yeah, that's what I think it is, what these people are hearing, because I've heard it like at 3 o'clock in the morning when it's really quiet. There's no traffic or anything like that. You can hear a vibration that you usually don't hear before, and it's I think it's just wigging people out, but I kind of think it's always been there.
Well, I don't know, because it's funny you should say that. When all of this stuff first started a few months ago, I started hearing a low-level hum, and I thought it was a side effect of a blood pressure medication I had been put on. And I would hear it, and I kept thinking that the dryer was running in the garage. And I'd go out in the garage, and no, it's not even on. But there's like this low-level sort of, like the sound a clothes dryer would make if it was tumbling. And it started driving me crazy. One day I'm on, I don't know if you've ever heard of Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a neighborhood newsletter that all different communities have, where you can sign up and you get emails, and you find out when there's garage sales or crime or whatever's going on in your neighborhood. Somebody posted, "Have you guys been hearing the hum?" And I'm like, uh-oh. So I was reading the thread, and there were like 10, 12 other people that were hearing the same thing in my general area. I haven't heard it in a while. It kind of lasted for a couple of months, and then it stopped. Now, a friend of mine lives in Arizona, and she said they have the booms and the hums. And the booms, the media, nobody, the military never, owns up that it might be them. Maybe it's these deep underground military bases, stuff going on down there. But they usually, they'll usually admit if they're doing some kind of exercises or what have you. And then there's like low-level hums, and nobody seems to know what they are. So a lot of this started, I believe it was February, and went on for a couple of months. And then I remember seeing a lot of the videos and things that you're talking about, where people were hearing that sort of trumpeting sound, and that happens every couple of years. It's weird how it like goes in waves. And I always thought that was really creepy. Somebody said, "Oh, it's just the echo of some construction going on." Like, oh, I don't know about that. I mean, it doesn't sound like a construction echo, but the low vibration, yeah. Now you got me wondering if, because I read an article a couple of days ago about the Schumann resonance and how it is not necessarily a fixed frequency. It sort of fluctuates. And maybe that's what people are feeling and hearing and experiencing. And all I can tell you is I know a lot of people, myself included, that have, since around February, had a renewed obsession with the paranormal, with UFOs, with whatever. I mean, I've always been interested in it, but for a long time we kind of got busy with other things. And then this happened, and it was like I was obsessed all over again, and it hasn't let up. Now that's kind of weird. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but
I did last year.
Going on. I have.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, it was big. And when I went to a paranormal conference, there were people talking about it all over, and they said, well, they would get these apps, these sound analyzer apps on your phone, where
yes,
where you could prove it. So because everybody thought they were crazy, like, you got tinnitus or you're hearing something, but they're like, no, I can show you the sound on the app. So it was happening.
That's
for sure.
That's what somebody did on this newsletter thing. Yeah, there was like a Marine or something on this Nextdoor app, and that's what a newsletter. And he said, you go to this site, and this is, you can if you can record the sound, you can analyze it or just send me the video or whatever. Same thing. I mean, I'm in San Diego, California, right? Where are you? You're in Arkansas?
Yes.
So this is going on in two completely different places, and people are, that's really weird. It's so funny that you said that, because I remember the guy was like, well, because I messaged him and I said, what the heck? What do you think this is? Is this military? And he said, I don't think so, but if you can get it, somehow record it. And I remember trying to ask my son, how do we record this hum that I can barely hear? He didn't hear it. And I just had no way of getting it recorded. I mean, it was just that low level. But yeah, that's interesting. So what does it mean? Is the Earth itself shifting, and this the virus is sort of an external manifestation of that shift?
Well, I think it's kind of like
will be more to come.
If you think about our genetics and our DNA codes and stuff, like we're all made of this code, a genetic code that seems binary or hexadecimal, that kind of thing. So it definitely looks like a programmed, like, I don't want to say simulation, but some kind of technology that has everything to do with biology, like a biological technical universe that is programmed in a certain way. And so is, the Earth. So what I'm saying is being in tech as long as I've had, it doesn't take much to mess things up. Seeing how everything is made up of binary codes in a computer, all the fancy stuff that we do goes down to little things called bits that are,
Bits and bits?
Yeah, they're bits. They're 8 ones and zeros, just codes of 8 ones and zeros. That's little, and then they have enclosure codes and stuff like that. And that's all it is. Now, if that's the case, and all you got to do to screw things up is go inside, find the code, change the zeros and the ones around, and now you got a bug,
but that's something that sounds like, it can be used for nefarious, sinister purposes as well, to make people sick, as well as some kind of, spiritual transformation. It can be used positively and negatively. Somebody can figure out how to make that alter those bits. I mean, is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, that the Earth is made up of that, and everything that's growing and becoming and living has got some type of genetics to it, some type of code that's underneath it. Now, computers are very complicated. And just like the body's complicated, everything runs on base level, and it gets more complicated as it goes up. The same thing with human life and life as itself. All somebody has to do is figure out how to change the codes, and the Earth starts sliding 34 degrees or whatever. It slid way far off its polar axis than it ever has in a long time. We've got a pandemic that we've never seen before, hums that are all over the place that people can't explain. It all seems just a little weird to me, that's all. And then you got these 7 companies, these multi-billion-dollar companies that are coming out saying, well, we're going to make the new vaccine. They're not really telling you what it is, that it's an injection that goes under the skin.
Your DNA.
Yeah, it messes with your genetics.
No, I won't be lining up for that. Exactly. But the natural stuff is really interesting to me because there's so much that goes on underground. And it's funny, I read, I got really fascinated with the underground military bases a while back. My dad was kind of fascinated by that as well. And I remember reading some military person saying, well, you could stand just about anywhere on the planet and there's some kind of tunnel or base beneath your feet. And I thought, that's an exaggeration, but maybe it's not. So if there's stuff going on down there, might that be, I'm just thinking, might that be some of the booms and hums that people are hearing? Like on Skinwalker Ranch, you heard them talk about that sort of low-level hum. And I know that they did locate something underground there. But the weird trumpeting sound, that is freaky. Because it just doesn't sound like anything it's not a truck horn amplified because it's foggy out. I've heard so many wild explanations that just don't hold water. I'm not saying it's angels trumpeting, but it just sounds really creepy.
It does. There's always somebody saying it's the apocalypse coming. Always somebody saying that.
Except that this has been going on, because I remember hearing them back in 2012 when everybody was worried about that, and at Y2K even, way back, there were people talking about, oh, you hear these trumpeting sounds. That's what I said. It's weird because it seems like they come in cycles.
Yeah.
And then you don't hear about them for a while. And then all of a sudden you see a bunch of people putting videos up, or, you see something on the news, and like, what the heck? Are those like aliens communicating with each other?
It very well could be.
That's pretty
like, there's all kinds of weird stuff. I'm telling you, like, this has been one of the weirdest moments in my life. Like, and I'm sure in everybody's life. It just feels like we're in some type of Twilight Zone episode, and it's nonstop. Yeah. And not only that, like,
But do you think it's because we don't have the distractions so that we usually have? Do you think that's why maybe it's always there, we're just noticing it more now? Or do you really feel like
I think
picked up a notch?
Well, think about
or both, maybe.
How when people get institutionalized, like when they go to prison, if you only got like one window, if that, to stare out of, it's basically like that,
right?
Just not as bad. And we're starting to notice every little thing around us because we're quarantined, or we don't go anywhere. And so, we notice every little thing, and then we invent things to do. Like the Night Stalkers killing it over on Facebook. I'll tell you, some people are actually torturing each other. They're getting so bored. There's Shudder. There's this thing called Shudder, the horror-focused streaming service. And they've debuted a new 56-minute horror film called Host, which takes place entirely on Zoom. So all you guys out there that use Zoom, and it was made from quarantine during the coronavirus pandemic, following a group of 6 friends whose weekly Zoom call turns dark when they decide to conduct a seance on Zoom. And the movie was conceived, shot, and edited in 12 weeks, and it came together after a video of 28-year-old director Rob Savage pranking his friends on Zoom went viral back in April. So these pranks that these guys did on each other on Zoom turned into a movie. So, there's some cool stuff that's happening.
That gets creative, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's definitely something going on, but then I always wonder, okay, well, is that just me? Is it just because there's a lot of uncertainty in the air? But it almost like all of the new UFO stuff that's even though it's stuff we've already heard a million times, but the fact that it's being trickled out to the public more, what's going on with that? And I don't know. Some of the people that I've talked to said that they've been more interested in the paranormal than they ever have been before.
That or
what's
Magick
happening in the real world. Yeah. And I think that, too, is like wanting to take back your own power and work with the forces of nature, or try to understand the forces of nature. It's self-empowering, but yeah, it is really weird.
I don't think that's a bad thing at all, actually.
And no, not at all. I'm glad people are doing that. And, you hear about all the negative things, like a lot of people are suffering from mental illness and isolation. And it's like now we're sort of being forced, instead of we've always lived externally, looking outside of ourselves, now we're being forced to take that journey within. And I think for a lot of people, that's really scary. They'd rather focus on everything outside of themselves than ever have to go on that inward journey, because that's kind of, that's unexplored territory.
New
we
terms.
like it, but, a lot of other people don't.
More tarot readers than there's ever been. More tarot and astrology readers than I've ever seen in my entire life, ever. Especially
really?
Go on YouTube. They're all over the place. And then now they got this Night Stalkers talking about that Zoom thing I was telling you. They're calling it core horror. Quarantine horror, they're calling it.
God.
Core horror.
Oh, brother.
So making
horror.
up a new section of horror that happens on Zoom, and that's crazy to me. That's happening.
Yeah. Well, here's one thing I have now. Have you seen? Because I've not seen this. Have you seen any sort of sensitives and psychics and mediums making predictions?
Oh yeah.
About the future. I've not. Why have I not seen it? What the heck? I have a friend who did a reading for me, but I'm not seeing that stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm surprised that we don't have. People aren't having visions and having readings about what they think is going to happen. And
I can tell you this. I can tell you this that what we've talked about on this show when it comes to tarot, we've talked about spirits, we've talked about elementals, we talked about a lot of things on the show, tarot and astrology, and it's come to my attention that there are people out there that just they read a book on something and they learn how to do it, but they don't understand. I don't think they understand that there's a whole realm full of spirits and things that will tell you all kinds of stuff. And if you want to read your chart, read your chart and really learn about astrology, and you'll see just how incredibly complex one person is.
Oh, it's so detailed. Absolutely. Yeah. I had a chart done years ago. It was 40 pages.
Yeah.
40 pages and heavily detailed. And the person who did it was a total stranger, and it was incredibly accurate. And I thought, I had no idea they got this detailed. It was like physics to me.
So there's 9 million people on YouTube,
everybody's
doing readings for like Aries and just this sign or that sign, and this person's cheating on you, and this person. And I'm thinking, if you really look at a chart, like it's super complex, and no wonder everybody's depressed and don't feel connected, because there really is nobody like you, nobody, So to take those readings for what they are, like, I have an Aries sun, and my tarot's saying it might talk about one tiny aspect of your life, and it's not even talking about the comparative energies that are going on. What I'm starting to see is that
people want to,
we need to take our power back as far as how we take care of ourselves, but also it's good to come to understand and study natural law, but also understand that we have more power over our lives and our choices and who we are to become than what we think. We're always looking for.
And I wish that was something.
We're always looking for somebody to tell us how things are.
Save us.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's really something that you see a lot now, is that everybody, they watch the news and they, take every word as truth, and they don't think for themselves. They don't research. They don't go with their gut or their discernment. And we listen to these Instagram and YouTube influencers who are telling us this and that, and it's like there's no substance behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we need to get back to having some substance behind what we choose to believe in and where we choose to put our thoughts and our energy. And I hate the negativity of people just watching the news and then they want to kill each other. So you know what? Don't watch the news, okay? If something happens, you'll find out about it. Trust me, you will. But why on earth would you expose yourself to that kind of negative frequencies and vibrations? Do something good for yourself,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Don't go out dating people because somebody on YouTube said something. Trust me on this one. It's a nightmare. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I just refuse to date this kind of person because they're this sign or whatever. Like, you don't know that person. They may have some of those qualities, but you don't know that person. You have to spend a good amount of time with somebody to really get to know them, and then you find out they are complex.
And it's funny too, because I remember, the Vedic astrology, your sun sign is your moon sign, or it's like one sign behind or whatever. And so it's you know, it's so complex, it's so detailed to just, it's almost like those old newspaper horoscopes, you know, to tell someone, well, you're a Libra, so you're not supposed to marry a Gemini. You don't get along with Gemini. Well, that's ridiculous. And yet there are people that take that kind of, you know, ridiculous advice and they actually incorporate it into their lives just because it's like they don't want to think or research or look into something. So they'd rather have some Instagram person say, oh, you know, you're a Virgo, you should be in this job line of career or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really weird how we give our power away to just anybody and anything.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll get real with you. You know, there are, some of these energies are more prevalent than the others in our charts. Of course they are. That's what it's for, to, like, show us. Like, you could look at Saturn in your chart and know where you need to grow. But everybody looks at Saturn and they go, oh, right. God, it's Saturn. And it's like, yeah, but if you use Saturn and you use it to grow spiritually, you will become the sun. That's the whole point. It's like, don't look at it as something that's terrible. Look at it as something that's challenging you to get rewarded with, you know.
And depending on where it is in your chart, it can have either a negative or a positive. It can have a completely different effect, right? Whatever house it's in or whatever they call it. But also, like, I know how much people joke about Mercury retrograde, right?
Yeah.
3 or 4 times a year when Mercury goes retrograde, everybody freaks out. And the thing is that if you really look into it, it's a positive time for renewal and introspection and sort of revisiting things and communication. But it's weird. We like everything to be in little sound bites, so we want it to be really surface and not too deep. No substance, just fluff. I don't know why. Because then you look around and 90% of the population is sick and miserable. Because they have no substance to their lives. They've given it away.
It's the power of the tongue. I was reading a book about that. Like, it's an older book. You know, this Christian lady was talking about it. It was making a lot of sense, though. A lot of the old school Christian mystics, you know, they talk about, you know, a person should have wealth, health, love, and the ability to express themselves in life. That's what we our souls come to this place for, is to have and experience health, wealth, love, and expression. And those are very simple things.
That sounds good to me.
Right? I mean, those are simple things that,
like, you know.
if we focus on those things, if we just set our minds to them, we can have them. But there's so many damn distractions and so many people that we lean on to tell us how things are that we can't even look at those 4 or 5 things in our life that really everybody wants. So if everybody wants that stuff, why the hell is it so hard to get? There's something weird going on about that.
Well, because we are distracted. Like you said, it's because of those distractions. But now a lot of those distractions have been taken away. So it's like, oh, this is great. It's either a time for you to find those things, or it's a time for you to whine and moan about everything that's wrong in the world. And it's like, it's the distractions that block us from having those great things. Well, what happens when the distractions go away? Now it's going to be your personal choice as to whether or not you have those things in your life. So that's what's interesting to see, is I see some people that are really trying to make the best of it, and I see people that just, you know, and I'm thinking, this is going to end. I remember the swine flu, and, you know, not too long ago.
Well,
and
you're right.
It ended. Everything ends. We pass through. This too shall pass. And why on earth did you waste your time doing nothing or complaining when you could have used these months to, you know, do something? Anything. Could be pick up a new hobby or work on your health, start exercising, whatever.
Right, for sure. Last break of the night. Speaking of distractions, last break of the night. We got to do that. If you want to call in and talk to, hopefully it won't be another 3 years before Marie comes back on, but, we'll make sure we get her back on the program. I'm just joking with you. We'll be right back.
I'm Clyde Lewis. You are listening to The Fringe FM.
The truth is out there.
There's something out here.
And so are we. KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM. We all have that story to tell in our lives. The winds were howling. The ground shook. You could hear rushing water. And then history repeats itself. When there's no power, refrigeration fails. Stores with their shelves strip bare. ATMs can't operate. Deliveries stop. Then what? These events can last days or weeks. You need a plan. In statements made during recent interviews, FEMA Administrator Brock Long has repeatedly urged all Americans to understand three truths. FEMA is broke, the system is broken. If this is the new normal, Americans can't rely on federal cavalry when disaster strikes. Don't get caught out in the elements empty-handed. Prepare with us by going to preparewiththefringe.com and get your 2-week food supply. 92 servings, 8 food varieties with 25-year shelf life. Normally $137, now only $75. Or get a month's supply, normally $247, now only $147, shipped in one business day. Just go to preparewiththefringe.com or call 888-440-7931. That's 888-440-7931. Get this great offer and be prepared while it lasts.
Grammar lessons for today's show was provided by old Mrs. O'Malley, who have been teaching we local citizens how to talk good for more longer than 13 years.
What you believe might not be. Step into the zone of the vast unknown. UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, conspiracies and cover-ups. Into the paranormal we go.
I'm Jeremy Scott. Travel with me into the paranormal. Live Saturdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on the Fringe FM.
Do you want to know the truth? Are UFOs real? Are aliens visiting Earth? Are governments around the world hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO Seekers, official partner of the Fringe FM, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Join us as we investigate locations like Area 51 by subscribing on YouTube at youtube.com/UFO Seekers.
Telepath is a weekly digital newsletter filled with the latest paranormal news, trending topics, and fresh articles from some of the most popular critical thinkers in the community today. Stay informed on your favorite paranormal podcasts and live streaming talk shows. Interact with the Telepath and upload your paranormal story or pics. It could be featured in an upcoming edition. Sign up right now for the free Telepath newsletter at paranormal.radio. That's paranormal.radio.
The Secret Teachings is the middle ground between the mainstream and alternative, between the official story and clickbait conspiracy. It lies between man's lack of critical thinking and his acknowledgement of discovering the patterns of nature. This is a radio show of objective analysis, from the occult to pop conspiracy and health. A show we call The Secret Teachings. You can catch the broadcast Monday through Friday on the Fringe FM, thefringe.fm, and www.thesecretteachings.info.
Hey Donald, you just tweeted that you finally heard our show, Live Talk with Alex Exum. What do you think?
That's enough. Put down the mic.
KTLK, The Fringe FM.
Oh man, don't you guys miss being in the club listening to this stuff? Where you just be around a whole bunch of people and lights and music, and you don't have to worry about masks or anything. You can just just bounce around and get all tribal. You remember what that was like? Real connection. We'll get it back one of these days. Or people might just get so damn tired of everything, they're just going to do it anyways. I think that could happen. This is my favorite thing to do, is go to like big dance festivals full of thousands of people and look at all the pretty lights and listen to all the music and dance. I didn't even need the drugs. But, you know, drugs are cool when you go to those things, but I didn't need them. Anyways, I miss that stuff, Marie. Marie D. Jones, our guest tonight. I miss all the stuff we used to do. Tired of being trapped.
It'll be back. It'll be back.
Well, at least...
Then we'll be annoyed because it's like, oh, I'm tired of people wanting to get together with me. I need some alone time.
Yeah, that's over with, right?
Happy.
Have plenty of alone time now. Speaking of alone time, I'm sure you spend most of your time writing all your wonderful books, like on UFOs and crazy 11/11 conspiracies and disaster relief. You know, but you got 2 books that are coming. One about magic and like modern magic, and then I don't want to speak for you. Tell us about what you got coming down the road.
So Earth Magic just came out last month, and in I think October I have a book out called The New Witch, and it looks at witchcraft, Wicca, Earth traditions, paganism. And metaphysics and herbalism, and just how it's changed with modern technology. It's a really fun book. Early next year, I have a really heavy-duty book that I just turned in called Propaganda, Disinformation, and You, and it looks at propaganda throughout history, fake news, media manipulation, just all the ways that we are lied to through media, advertising, corporations, politicians, you name it. Then after that, I have a book out called The Toxin Conspiracies, The Systematic Poisoning of Our Air, Water, Bodies, and Food. Another really heavy-duty, intense one. That'll be out later next year. Then I lighten it up a little. I have a natural health manual that sort of looks at all the ways that we're poisoned by everything and how we can detox and just natural alternative health. You know, I don't like pharmaceuticals. I'm very anti-pharmaceutical. So I really like to research natural and healthy alternatives. But I look at everything from fasting to different types of exercise to food and what have you. And then towards the end of next year, I will have a book about celebrity UFO sightings, and that includes athletes, famous people, military, you know, government officials, presidents and senators and what have you. And that's nonfiction. And then I have a horror novel coming out in next July called 13. And then followed by a novel called Freak, which can only be described as a paranormal, I don't even know what it is. It's like a paranormal thriller. And then I sold a romantic comedy this year that we're waiting for it to be able to go into production. So hopefully that will be out early next year. It's a holiday movie. And what else am I doing? And I'm supposed to be making a feature film, writing and producing, but we had to put that on hold because of COVID. So as soon as that lifts, we're going to jump right back into that. So, yeah, I have a lot going on.
Wow. You do got a lot going on.
I cannot sit idle. I go nuts. And I have, you know, my son and I hang out a lot. And I see my friends now and then, but I love to work. I have a line of fun journals that I put out. It's called Attitudinals, or Journals with Attitude. I think I have 15 of them now. So yeah, I like to keep busy. I go nuts. If I didn't have my computer, I'd have to go back to the old, you know, yellow line tablet with a pencil or pen.
That sounds.
I'm kind of running out of things to write about, though, with nonfiction. It's like, what the heck else can I write about?
Well, it does make you. I mean, This is the time. Like, if you want to use your imagination, now sure, it's a perfect time for artists and anybody that's really nerdy right now. That's for sure. It's a perfect time for that.
I'm seeing some of my friends doing some really cool stuff, like making candles and baking. A lot of my guy friends have gotten into cooking, which is so wild. They love to bake and cook, and I don't know. It's like, God, I don't know how to cook. But I'm seeing a lot of people just getting really creative, and people that lost their jobs, and they're thinking, well, okay, what can I do now? How are people making money during this lockdown, and getting really creative? I'm actually trying to get into to buying stocks and getting into the investing. So I'm learning about that. I have no skill at all at that kind of stuff. It's hard for my brain. I have a really creative brain. I don't have an analytical, technical brain, but I'm trying to learn. So
I understand
this is a really good time. I mean,
I can tell you, my father grew up day trading stock options for, like, I know about all that stuff. Yeah. But here's the thing. If you're emotionally, I can tell you this, if you are emotionally entangled with your money, it's probably always best to just invest long term. Don't do any short term stuff or any remotely risky stuff.
I don't want any short term. This is really for me to leave for my son. So I want it to be long term, and that's what I've heard. And I am an emotional person, but I know that with that, just like with my work, I have to detach. Because, you can't get real emotional about your books because they get edited and things like that. But, yeah, it's funny. I watched some webinars with some different young investors that are really successful, and they were saying definitely take the emotion out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot different from the paranormal world, but...
That's exactly right, because it's crazy. If you don't, I've just watched my father go through it for years and years, and there's a lot. You can paper. The cool thing about, like, if you open I don't know why we're talking about this, but maybe somebody wants to hear it. If you open up like
funny. Yeah, it's life.
Yeah, if you open up like an Ameritrade account, you can open up a paper account, and you can learn about all these different strategies. You can make money if stocks go up. You can make money if they go down. You can even make money as long as they move a certain amount. You just got to know what you're doing.
Right.
The problem is
I'm learning now. I'm not doing anything yet.
People don't look at it like a video game. If you can't look at it like a video game and your emotions get involved, then you're in trouble. You might as well just go long term on everything, Or
exactly.
You should get into digital real estate. That's the new thing.
Digital real estate. Yikes.
Well, think about it, right?
What is that?
Well, I've got a website called thefringe.fm, and it's already worth money.
Uh-huh.
The domain's already worth money.
Oh,
the
I see
site's
what you
already
mean.
worth money.
Okay. So
think about
when you say real estate, you're not talking about houses. You're talking about digital.
I'm talking about a whole new, this is a whole new ball game. Think about the domain as the piece of land.
Oh, wow.
All right? That's the land, blank land. And think about...
So do you buy up domain names?
Oh, yeah.
What?
I got a friend named that I had on the show in the very start of Lighting the Void. His name's Jamie Lewis, and he's a multi-millionaire. And he's been doing this stuff, buying and selling websites, domains and stuff since this whole thing started. He even buys and sells people, he'll go buy people's social media accounts just to get the traffic to drive to the websites to get the businesses going so he can flip them. Just like flipping a house.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So
that's
entrepreneurial,
yeah.
You think about the domain as the piece of land, and then the website, whether it's a store or a service or just entertainment, is the building or whatever. It's the real estate. Now, depending on how often that phrase is searched or the traffic that gets driven to it or the niche that it's involved with is how much the land is worth. Just like when you buy real estate, if something's close to a school and there's no crime and
exactly. Location,
that's
location. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh, wow. I've never heard of that. I heard of people buying up domain names to sell, but I didn't realize it went beyond that.
Oh, yeah, it goes far beyond that. I can show you a website right now where people are just buying and selling just online businesses left and right. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have no clue where to find those businesses. I would never even imagine that.
God bless.
Yeah, that's
God,
like
God bless Google, right? Yeah. Well.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives the little guy a shot. That's the beautiful thing about. We all get angry at technology and all this stuff, but you know how you were talking to me during the break about self-publishing a book? The little guy has a shot at everything now. Everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's leveled the playing field quite a bit. Now it's just a matter of how good you are sort of projecting into the future, having some foresight as to what might be the next big need that people are going to have, or what, digital real estate, maybe 10 years ago, nobody would have even thought of that, but maybe 5 years ago, people started thinking, and those are the ones that get really successful.
Yeah.
The ones that have that foresight. That's interesting. And with investing, too, I mean, people buy popular stocks, but that doesn't necessarily make you money. You've got to try to think, well, what are the companies that are going to be big in the future, or what sector is going to be really successful in the future. So, that's interesting. I'll have to look more into that.
Yep, just go online and get you a online escrow account. It's free. So if you make a big transaction, escrow will take care of it for you. It's just like real estate, except you don't have to deal with a broker.
But do you use your own money, or are you leveraging something else?
The sky's the limit.
That's what would trip most people up.
You got to look at this whole. Okay. You got to look at this whole game of life, folks. Not as a burden.
Yeah.
But a video game that you star in.
It's a game. Yeah.
Now, granted, when stuff doesn't go your way, you feel the pain. But I mean, that's part of it.
Well, that's why multiple streams of income are good, because if one tanks, you still got others.
You want to hear something crazy? I don't know why we're talking about this. I think somebody needs to hear it. But I read Think and Grow Rich. Everybody's read that book a long time ago. I read that book, and the guy was talking about setting up pinball machines at gas stations and stuff. And this was just to make extra cash, right?
Machines, yeah.
So I go up to the station, the Forest Tower station up here in Northern Grant County, and I know they got those push quarter machines that push the quarters in the hole, and that sucker's been there for I don't know how long. Well, the guy comes up and puts in a change machine bigger than both of them, and I'm thinking, Jesus, how much money is this guy making off these things? If he can afford a change machine to put beside it like it's a damn laundromat now. There's only two little machines in there.
Right.
Well, I asked I went to the owner and I asked the owner, I said, what happened? And she said, well, the guy he's moving and he was going to take his machines, and I offered to buy them. And I said, well, what'd you buy them for? You want to know what she bought those damn quarter machines for? $50,000 a pop.
Whoa.
$50,000 a pop. Those quarter machines are rolling out $30,000 to $50,000. Those little push quarter machines every month. How is that even possible?
That's incredible. I know. And who would think of that? Of all the different options that you have of things to do, that's where having that mind that can, it's like having a web crawler mind where you just look at all these unusual things, or who might need this? What might people have a need for that hasn't been filled yet?
So if there's a youngin' out there that's listening, buy one machine, just like the book says, make money from that machine, and don't go live it up. Don't be dumb. Don't go buy a house.
No,
buy another machine.
Into the second machine.
Yeah, get a machine.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's
before
all
you know, you got 100 machines, and you're. Yep, that's something else.
Well, Marie, it really is
people could be doing.
Cool talking to you as always. Even though we'll make sure it's not 3 years apart.
Absolutely, we covered a lot of ground, didn't we?
Yeah, health, wealth, relationships, the paranormal, and the weird, and when we talked about your books a
We
little
did,
bit.
and even investing. We did. We covered it all.
Good times.
Well, it was
Thanks
a pleasure.
for coming on the
Thank
program. Yeah, you guys
Thank you. We will talk soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And y'all go check out the website, mariedjones.com. Get her books. Fascinating writing. It is very entertaining, actually. Even the fiction, nonfiction, she's just all around good writer. And we'll be back tomorrow night on the program. Same time, same channel. And yes, I will be catching up on the archives. And you know how I do it. I'm just going to roll them all out at once. And please don't copy the show without written permission. Thanks to Pacho, my producer, and Stevie and Chronox, the music behind the show. All of you guys in the Fringe FM chat, the patrons of the show. We couldn't do this without you, and I mean that. And everybody else that's listening across the World Wide Web, right here on KTOK Digital Broadcasting, the Fringe FM, the Secret Teachings with Ryan Gables coming up next. Stay tuned. We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
On this program do not necessarily reflect those of the Fringe FM, KTOK Digital Broadcasting, its sponsors, affiliates, or staff. Listener discretion is advised.